Hi, welcome back to my channel. Spotify Wrapped is one of those ideas that just makes sense. It's nice to be able to look back on a year and see what you loved, what was new to you, and as Paul Rubolino so eloquently put it,
compare with friends.
If every social media and software company is collecting endless amounts of user data to sell and or power their almighty algorithms, and they are, the least they can do is share that data back with us. It's a great marketing campaign for Spotify. They get everyone talking about their service between tweets about dead CEOs and stories. Hold on, that's an ad. That's an ad too. Stop showing me paid advertisements. I want to watch my friends do the advertising for free. Any way you slice it, Wrapped has been a massive success for Spotify as a brand. And I'd be lying if I said I don't get excited for it every year. It's fun to compare with friends. This year's Wrapped was already off to a rocky start since it was the latest in the year Wrapped has released since 2019. Every year since that thing in 2020, Wrapped has come out on either November 30th or December 1st. And if they needed a few extra days to put some extra polish on it, make their list and check it twice, people would have been happy and forgotten all about the delay. Personally, I think Wrapped should be pushed back to January so it can finally fulfill its promise of being a musical year in review. There should be Christmas songs that get all wrapped up, not just because of the thematic paper, but because the music I listened to for the last 5 weeks of the year should show up in my most listened to songs. It would be like if your favorite award show, which is also my favorite award show, you've got great taste by the way, didn't consider movies released in January for awards because most of the good stuff comes out in the summer or the end of December anyway. I just want my year in review to review my year, not my first 10 months. Maybe this was the year they should have pushed back to January because while the delays did happen, the Wrapped that was released was not better because of it. In fact, what we got was a pretty underwhelming Wrapped that felt incomplete, which is a nice way of saying it was the worst Wrapped Spotify's ever released. It's easily the most bare bones version we've seen, at least in my lifetime. Of course, it showed you your top 5 songs, your top 5 artists, your ranking among other people who listen to your favorite artist, and some other basic counting stats. This is all the stuff that people expect from Wrapped. It's the stuff that they do every year. I think of it as the tortilla of the Wrapped wrap. It's the thing that provides structure, it holds it all together, but it's not the reason why people get excited. The buffalo chicken of this wrap is the unique thing Spotify brings and changes every year. It's the listener type or personality or sound town or one of the many things that they've done which you get to compare with friends. They also didn't include genres or albums this year, and genres especially feels like a missing piece of the puzzle. Or none, like a missing lettuce of the, we're too deep in the metaphor. Whether you like your genres as a bar graph or as a sandwich, it feels weird to not talk about those at all. To me at least, that was a really fun way to see which of my friends were listening to similar music to me beyond just artists whose names I did or didn't recognize. Because sometimes you listen to a lot of artists in a genre, and spreading it out like that means none of them make your top 5, but that's still a lot of the music you listen to in a year. I just want to compare with my friends, okay? I'm gonna watch everyone's Instagram story. Let me know how similar we are. The visuals were also lackluster this year, which I think would be more forgivable if they didn't also put out this promo, which is rad as hell. Where was any of this? Individualized logos corresponding with artists who had big years? How did they manage to put more time and thought into a promo than the actual Wrapped itself? There are also a lot of people saying the data was just wrong this year, and I've gotta agree. The one unique feature from this year was these 3 seasons where Spotify took 3 different months out of the year and told you what kind of music you were listening to in each of them. Sounds great. My 3 were theatrical West End Broadway, funny parody yacht rock, and bougie clean rap hip hop. And putting aside how many of those are just synonyms, that sounds like a good overview of the kind of music I listen to. The issue is, it says during my musicals phase, I was listening to John Bellman, Marvin Hamlish, and David Josephsberg. Except I know for a fact I was not listening to David Josephsberg because the only cast album he's on that I've listened to is Honeymoon in Vegas, and I didn't start listening to Honeymoon in Vegas until September, which means I couldn't have possibly been listening to David Josephsberg back in February. They might have a loophole, because they don't say I was listening to David Josephsberg. They say I was listening to artists like David Josephsberg. But if that's the case, if you're showing me people who are like the people I'm listening to, why not just show me the people that I'm listening to? This is supposed to be a year in review. Just throw in literally any other theater performer and I would have believed you. Patti LuPone, Santino Fontana, Chris Eber, hell, fucking star of Fortnite Friday, Zachary Levi could have been there and I would have believed it. But you had to go with the one theater performer I know was not in my rotation in February. I also don't want it misconstrued. I am not upset with David Josephsberg in any way. He was great in Beetlejuice when he took over for Adam Maitland. He was so physical in a role that isn't super written to be that way. It does not go unnoticed. He was great there. And I hope that his last few weeks in Back to the Future are just the most fun. My issue is not with him, it is with the people of Spotify. It just felt like I should say something after name dropping a lesser known Broadway performer. Another data inaccuracy, they did not include the Talk to a podcast in my top 5 podcasts this year, which seems impossible because it was certainly one of the podcasts I listened to this year. I made a whole video about it. Did they not want to include Haley because of the crypto scam she just did where she might be for real going to jail?
Hey guys, I hate to interrupt you, Nick. Hello there. But anywho, I'm gonna go to bed, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.
It's not like another podcast past Talk to in my top 5. There are only 3 of them. What the fuck happened? Are they using this empty part to hold space for the lyrics to Defying Gravity? Other people have said that songs that should be in their top 100 are missing or out of order, as if the stated October cutoff date wasn't actually true, and the cutoff was even earlier than usual. That would make sense for me, because I only could have listened to Talk to in September and October. If that cutoff was pushed to be earlier, then Wrapped becomes a 9 months in review? At what point is this no longer fulfilling its original promise and just Spotify scrolling through your on repeat and picking songs out of a hat? Other than that fraudulent music evolution feature, all of the unique parts of this year's Spotify Wrapped were AI generated. There's the AI DJ taking you through an AI playlist featuring great segments like This Year in Music, what you were listening to in 2018, and This Year in Music. If I wanted to know what a majority of other people were listening to, I could have just looked at the charts. Those are there year-round. It's not a difficult thing to figure out. I thought Wrapped was supposed to be about 2024 me, who's such a special little snowflake, he's still bumping the Iron Claw soundtrack. In my opinion, the worst feature from this year's Wrapped was the AI-generated podcast.
All right, music lovers, we're your hosts visiting from Google's Notebook LM.
Here to unwrap your 2024 Spotify Wrapped.
As much as I love listening to 2 disembodied voices talk about songs, this was particularly bad.
Let's talk about your top track. Get ready for this.
Hit me with it.
Tom Sawyer by Rush from the album Moving Pictures.
A classic.
An absolute classic. And you listen to it, get this, 146 times. That puts you in the top 0.01% of Rush listeners worldwide.
Wow, talk about dedicated fan. That's amazing. What I'm curious about is, I wonder if you're just a big Rush fan or if that speaks to a broader love for classic rock in general.
You know, that's a great question. If only there was a streaming service that had access to all of my music listening data from the past decade and could tell if I listened to a lot of Rush or if I listen to a lot of classic rock in general. It doesn't matter, they'd still come up empty without the context that this song was in the Iron Claw, and that's why it ended up in my Wrapped, and probably saw an increase in streams across the board. Same with this person who listened to a lot of One Direction.
238 minutes, really love them, Dylan.
That's so cool, you know, One Direction are classics.
And you even had a 7-day listening streak.
7 days straight. That's some serious dedication.
I wonder if that coincided with the release of something, maybe a new album or a reunion or something.
It would be really awesome if that happened. That would be a great thing.
Maybe there was a One Direction marathon happening?
Maybe you just really love One Direction and you just listen to them all the time.
It's because Liam Payne died. The reason this person, and I'm assuming other people, had a spike in One Direction listening around October 16th, it's because he fucking died. Music exists in a cultural context, one that you're not going to get if you're just looking at one person's listening statistics. I know Spotify hates that fact. That's why they push songs over albums. It's why they push their own playlists. It's why they have no intention of banning AI-generated music. I understand that music is a business, and it's in a really tough spot right now. But I don't think the solution to any of the industry's problems is to further strip it down to its most basic parts and push people towards the most generic, homogenized, cost-effective version. It's an art form, and treating it like it's just a product takes away the reasons people are drawn to music. It's relatable, it's unique, it's seeing yourself in someone else. It brings you back to a certain time in your life, and understanding that isn't going to come from a self-contained set of data points. Music is such a part of people's lives, and trying to understand that from just one person's listening habits is fucking impossible. Let's get back to that stupid-ass podcast.
February was all about what we're calling theatrical West End theater Broadway phase.
Music?
Hundreds of plays.
Hundreds. And you know, Marvin Hamlish, when you say Vegas from Honeymoon in Vegas.
Wrong. Marvin Hamlish did the music for a chorus line I didn't listen to When You Say Vegas until September. Bozo.
Talk about a deep dive into Kendrick's discography. Euphoria, Not Like Us, Untitled O2.
Yes.
You really were exploring the nuances of his work.
Check this out. Espresso and Please, Please, Please. Talk about diving into the nuances of Sabrina Carpenter's discography. If that's digging deep, listening to a song from 2022 must be fracking. And why are they posing these questions to me at all? I know why I listen to the music I listen to. I can tell you very easily. I don't need a fucking pop quiz on it. Some of the drop-off in quality and reliance on AI is definitely attributable to the 3 rounds of layoffs Spotify did last year. The CEO even said that those layoffs did disrupt our day-to-day operations more than we anticipated, which... duh. How do you lay off 2,300 people over the course of a year? The last round was 1,500 people in one fell swoop, and not expect it to affect your day-to-day. 17% of Spotify's workforce was eliminated. That's 1 in 6 people. Pretty soon, Spotify's just gonna be 8 people scrambling to find songs on LimeWire. All of this comes together and makes Spotify Wrapped feel disappointing and disillusioning and just bad. And when your flagship advertising project falls so flat, people wonder why they even give you money in the first place. These are all from Spotify's Instagram post about Wrapped. Great job firing those 1,500 employees. The lack of human creativity and effort really shows this year. And y'all gave us nothing? This year Wrapped was wrong, incomplete, and rushed. Ain't no way this is what we were edged for. Huge disappointment. Where is the personality, the fun? Last year's was so human and beautiful, and this year's was just AI slop. And on Spotify's blog, they post, "We're commemorating a decade of Spotify Wrapped with our best and boldest Wrapped yet." And you know, I just don't think that's true. This is the second video I've made just this year about Spotify fucking something up. It's Spotify, just like... And this isn't like the car thing, because only certain people had the Spotify car thing. Everyone gets Spotify Wrapped. Putting something this abysmal on display for every single one of your customers feels like a colossal fuck up. And I think this is the reason other companies are not going to start doing their own version of Wrapped. When it goes wrong, it goes this wrong. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, and you wouldn't mind leaving a like or subscribing, I would really appreciate that. Do I want to talk about Letterboxd again? I feel like I talk about it in every video. But they're doing their own version of Wrapped, and so I'm excited for that. I've started streaming on Twitch again. I'll be live on the 11th at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you're interested in watching me play some Balatro, I'll be there. I'll be there doing that. Thanks again for watching. It really does mean a lot to me. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. And they just care about the money because they're companies, not me. I'm not a company. I'm a man. I'm an American.